Don't laugh at me. Okay, so I'm just gonna jump right in because I don't feel like waiting. Today, I am coming to you just to talk about some of the things you ought to be doing. It's still January of 2025. These are the things that you want to be doing if you are on a job hunt for the new year. If you are on the job hunt for the new year, there are some things that you need to be doing just to start your job search off right. Let's just start there. Before we even dive into the job interview stuff, let's just talk about the job search. Okay, hold on, let me see something. A little bit more brighter. A little bit more brighter. Okay. I feel like that's too bright. Eeh. Anyway, so number one, if I'm on the job search, it's January, it's 2025. First of all, what you need to reflect on is what type of job are you looking for? Okay, if you already have a career, then, or if you're changing careers, you need to figure out what type of job am I looking for. And in order to figure that out, the first thing you do is you reflect, okay? What is your current job title? Are you looking for something similar? Are you looking for something elevated? You need to figure that out because what you're going to do is the next step. The next step is going to determine what you know in that off the top, okay? You figure out you want to be a marketing coordinator, okay? You're a marketing assistant, or you're finishing up a marketing intern, or you're marketing, I don't know. You want to move to the next level. So what you want to do is you want to start determine what your job title was going to be. But when you're out looking, so you go look for jobs. When you're out looking, you want to be able to determine, are there any jobs that are similar to this job title? Now, a couple of ways you could do that. One, you could start, you could simply Google it, job titles that are similar to this, and you can find it out. But my trusted resource, which I talk about often, is ONET Online. ONET Online. I'll put that in the description below. ONET Online is going to have it's like a job database. It's a job database that has all of the background information you would need about its salary, the type of education you need, the type of certifications you need, the type of job environment it is, if it's a bright outlook, if it's a declining career path. It has so much information, and it also has jobs that are similar to it. So that's why I say start there. The other website you can start at is the Occupational Job Handbook website, and that goes over the same things. So in the beginning of your job search, you want to identify what type of job am I looking for. Once you identify what type of job you're looking for, then you need to search for those job descriptions. Okay? Crucial step. Those job descriptions, you need to kind of go on a little search, maybe 10, 15, maybe 20 different job descriptions that have that you can copy and paste onto a Word document or a Google document or whatever it may be, because you're going to move on to what your third step is going to be, is making sure you look at those job descriptions, determine what type of job title you're in search of, and then update your resume to reflect those things. Again, so let's start at the beginning. Determine what type of job title you're looking for, okay? Then 2, Google similar jobs. Then step 3, figure out those similar jobs. And then step 3, I think this was step 3, go ahead and find those jobs, copy and paste them to a Google document, because you're going to need to update your resume with those tags, those job duties. You're going to want your resume to reflect what you've just done your research on. Okay, so that's 3 steps off the top. And it does take a little bit of work, okay? But I will be going over again what the job search process is going to look like for you in 2025, and then some interview secrets to go along with it, okay? So now, you got your job title figured out. I want to be a marketing coordinator. You got a bunch of different job descriptions that you got from the internet, from Indeed, wherever you got them from, and then you got them copied and pasted onto your Google document. So now you know there could be similar titles. They could be specifically like fundraising coordinator or social media coordinator. A lot of umbrellas underneath marketing, okay? That is something that you would have found out. Again, if this is your field, you would know that, but also you can find it out on the Occupational Job Handbook. You can find it out on onetonline.com, okay? Now, boom, we updated our resume. So now we're on to step 4. Now we're talking about applying for those jobs, okay? Now you got your resume all updated, all nice, okay? You have made sure it's focused on this one type of job. I say one type of job because that's why you did your research stage, to see similar jobs. Because when your job title is very similar and it kind of falls under the same umbrella, then you don't have to just only apply for marketing coordinator. Like, so for me, I'm a recruiter, but I also know about HR. I also, I have all the HR aspects, but because I've been a recruiter for so long, my umbrella is truly recruitment, HR recruiter, corporate recruiter, um, recruiting manager, recruiting supervisor, recruiting specialist, talent acquisition. All these terms all mean the same thing pretty much. So I wouldn't have to just only Google recruiting jobs. I would Google the jobs that are similar. Okay, and because my resume is tailored to those similar jobs. All right. So I think that was step 4 was applying for those jobs. All right. Step 5, you get a call back, right? You got an interview coming up. Step 5, we got a whole nother branch now, and that is the interview preparation stage. And now these are the things that I really want to hone in on. So how do you prepare for your interview? You get the call or you get the email saying they want to schedule an email or an interview with you in 3 days, maybe 4 days, maybe next week, whenever it's going to be. What do you do? How do I prepare? Okay. You pull out that job description that you had. You pull out your resume. Now it's time for you to think, what are the questions they're going to ask me? Now, if you're swift, these are the times where you want to bring in AI, because AI will assist you in kind of connecting the dots. But what it won't do is memorize it for you. Okay. That's your job. It won't, you got to still study it. You still have to say these answers out loud. You have to still put in the effort. AI can help you. Like, they can help you connect with what this job duty says and what question they might ask you based upon this job duty. That's fine. You can do that. Now, person like me, I've been in the field so long that I know what questions they're going to ask you, and I'm going to tell you those now. So what you're going to do is you're going to study these 5 basic questions, because almost any job is going to ask you these 5 basic questions. First, you're going to study and prepare for the tell me about yourself. Then you're going to prepare for what is your weakness. Sometimes they really don't ask the strength, but they ask the weakness, okay? Then you're going to prepare for a time that you failed or a time that you didn't complete something. Okay, so tell me about yourself, weakness, when did you fail? Then they're going to ask you about a team project that you worked on or working with a team. Okay, so you got tell me about yourself, weakness, a time you failed, a project that you worked on. Okay, now the 5th question is going to be why do you want us to hire you, or why should we hire you? Okay, those are some of the basic questions they're going to ask you. Those questions I have answers for. I was going to show y'all this. Bam! You can get this on my website. I have answers to the top 12 job interview questions. I've just shared 5 with you. Those 5 are in this book. Okay. There's going to be answers to these questions, answers that I've used, that I've successfully passed my interviews with. Okay. So boom. Screenshot that. Boom. Okay. So, all right. So know that those first 5 questions are guaranteed they're going to be asked you in some shape, way, or form. Now, let me tell you the secret to answering some of those questions. First of all, I'm going to start with the weakness question, because this one is something that I see people mess up on so often. But I will give you the secret to this one. And I have another video about this, so check that video out too. I will probably put that in the link below. So the weakness question, how you want to answer the weakness question is you want to answer it with a weakness that you have already conquered, something that you have it's no longer a weakness. So they're going to ask you, so tell me about your greatest weakness. Now, even though they're asking you for your greatest weakness and it's present tense, it's okay and it's smart of you actually to go ahead and say what your previous weakness was. Okay, so you want to answer the question by saying something along the lines. Now, this is a very basic answer, and this might fall into somebody's category, and that's okay. So you want to answer it, previous weakness, and how did you conquer it, okay? So the answer is, yes. So one of my greatest weaknesses is the system or the software Excel. I used to have quite a bit of trouble navigating Excel, figuring out formulas and just feeling comfortable working with that system, with that piece of software. So what I did was I went on YouTube. I did start looking at some videos. I actually signed up for this Microsoft course where I was able to do some hands-on Excel projects and Excel experiments, or whatever you want to call it, whatever they call, those testing things or whatever. And with that, I was able to become much more comfortable. So every time I get an opportunity to use Excel in the workplace, it's no longer one of my weaknesses. It's something that I was able to achieve and accomplish. So boom, something along those lines. And then the other thing is you need to make your answer, you don't want to take too long, and this is why you want to prepare it ahead of time. Okay, so you want to be able to say it and then you're done talking about it. You told them what your previous weakness was, and then you told them how you solved it. Okay, so you're acknowledging that you have faults, and then you're acknowledging that you are a person that will try to correct those faults as well. Okay, now let's talk about the tell me about yourself question. This is another secret gem with the tell me about yourself question. Again, in that book, the tell me about yourself question, how you want to map that is there are going to be like 4 bullet points. So you don't want to prepare a whole written script. You want to think of it in bullet points because you want to be able to say these things comfortably. And just like with the weakness question, you want to practice these answers out loud. So you want to walk around your house just like I'm walking around, okay? And I got my paper in front of me on my phone. I'm looking at the answer and then I'm just reciting it out loud to myself, because what you don't want to do is have the first time you say it out loud be when you're on your job interview. You want to have already said it out loud so that the muscle memory or the voice memory occurs. Okay, so that's a real thing. Okay, now again, tell me about yourself. 4 points. 1, you want to tell them let's just tell me about yourself. They just trying to break the ice. They don't want to just start diving in, asking you a million questions at the very beginning. So tell me about yourself. 1. Well, and you don't try not to say your name if you can't help it. Okay. So the first point is what your current job is. Like what do you do? That's the first thing. You want to say what you do. You want to say how long you've done it. Okay. You want to say what brought you to apply for this job. Okay. Even though that's not what they're asking, that's what they're asking. Okay, what is it that brought you to apply to this job? I've been in this field for X amount of years as a such and such. What brought me on this job today is because I've had at least these many years of experience doing this, and because I've done this for so long, I'm ready to take upon a new challenge. I'd like to learn, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, the point is you start with who you are, how long you've been in your field. You start with your current situation. Okay, then you answer why you're here, what you're looking for, what made you apply for that job. That's what you're kind of answering. And then, then you end it by saying, hopefully, that's my current, that's why I'm here on today, and that's why this job really stuck out to me. I thought it would be something I really wanted to learn more about, and hopefully have the opportunity to talk to you about it more in detail or whatever. So again, everything takes practice. Okay, everything takes practice. That book, it has the whole answer outlined for you. Okay, and what you can do is you can tweak it and make it your own. Okay, you want to tweak it and make it your own. Okay, but it has everything in there. Okay, now let's talk about another secret: how to answer the conflict question. I often talk about the conflict question because they're always going to bring about, tell me a time where you had a disagreement on the job. Tell me about a time that someone was taking or did something on the job that you didn't agree with. Tell me about a time where you had a conflict with a manager. They're going to ask you about some kind of disagreement. That's the whole point. There's going to be a disagreement on your job. Nobody's perfect. I don't care who you think you are. You're not perfect, and you get in, humans will be humans. Humans go human. Okay, so you're going to have some type of disagreement. Now, is it going to be a fight? Hope not, but there's going to be a disagreement or a conflict. Now, think of it like this. When you hear the word conflict, don't just automatically mean it. Don't just automatically assume it's got to be something major. It don't have to be nothing major. You can just think of a small disagreement that you've had on the job with anybody, whether it was the littlest disagreement via email or what. The point is they don't want to know per se about the conflict. They just want to know how you handled it. Okay? So I always tell people don't spend too much time on what the problem was. Spend more time on how you resolved it and what you learned from it. Okay? Again, that's in the book. Let me pull it up again. It's in the book. An example is in there for you. It goes over it, and it goes over what I like to use all the time, and that's the STAR method. The STAR method helps you outline your answer, situation, the task at hand, the action you took, and the result. So it helps you stay on page, and it helps that person that's listening to it after the fact stay on track as well. Okay? All right, so we went over how to appropriately start your job search. Okay? We went over tell me about yourself, the conflict question, and the 5 questions that they are most likely going to ask you on almost any interview. Okay? And we went over the weakness question. Now, the other, why should we hire you? What I want to say about that is you need to reflect. This is what I think. You need to reflect on your, like, what makes you unique. Okay? That's what I really feel. What makes you unique? But at the same time, what makes you unique and how does it relate to this job? Okay? Let me give you an example. There was a job that I was applying for, and it was at a very mission-based, spiritual kind of institution. And in that moment, knowing that that's what I was applying for me, what makes me unique outside of the fact that I'm qualified, because 9 times out of 10, the people that they're interviewing are qualified. It's just going to be a matter of how you communicate in this interview. If you say anything crazy, and are you a vibe? Like, are you good? Are you cool? You know, are people gonna get along with you well? Okay, so that's the stuff they kind of, and more so how you communicate though. Okay, because how you communicate, meaning you study for your answers, you're able to answer the question. You look prepared. You sound prepared. Okay, so what I was getting to was the gentleman asked me, you know, is there anything else I want to share? So he didn't have to say, why should I hire you? And that's the thing. Y'all got to pick up on key words and key sentences. Y'all got to pick up on what's really going on. So he could have said, he said, is there anything else you would like to share? And I could have been like, no, but I do have some questions. Even me thinking that, I could have thought, okay, me asking questions is good. But he said, do I have anything else that I want to share? That's your opportunity. That's your green light. That's your time to shine. Okay, so what I did, because like I said, I knew I was applying for a mission-based place. I heard him talking about what the point of the organization is. They have social services they provide to children in domestic situations, in poverty-stricken situations, all kind of situations that pull at a person's heartstrings, right? But it also, I also saw that the person who established the organization was a spiritual person, and he was he started it at a church. Okay, so boom. So I'm knowing this stuff. How can I make myself feel? How can I stand out? How can I show that I'm unique? What can I say? So what I decided to say was, I said, yes. So I did want to share the fact that whenever I'm looking for a job, I do like to learn about the mission. I like to learn about its values, and I like to see if there's anything that can connect me with the organization, especially now that I'm getting older. And I did say that. You only as old as you feel. Anyway, I said, now that I'm getting older, I'm more decisive on where I place myself at. And I said, so me knowing that I was raised, and I said, and I know that, things be taboo and saying things sometimes, but knowing that I was raised, my dad was a pastor, he's passed away on, and my mom was a first lady, so I was heavily involved in church, and I was heavily involved in mission-based work. Um, it really matters to me. And then I talked about my previous two positions that had a mission-based um values and things like that. So I expressed that and I said, a lot of times I look back on what they instilled in me and my foundation. And at any time that I can pour into somebody where I'm working or my colleagues are just better, have a more sympathetic heart or whatever it may be, I'm willing and really I like to do that. So I just wanted to share that a part of me, a part of the reason why I'm interested and a part of the reason why, this means something to me is because of those values and because of kind of where I am in my life now. So I say that to say, y'all, truthfully, I mean, yeah, it's about getting paid, but it's also about, you need to be thoughtful in where you're applying. And if you just need a job, then figure out how to connect the dots some kind of way. Figure out how to connect the dots. This is just something that I know about myself that I connect often. I connect that often because it shows who I am as a person. It tells kind of a little bitty story about, you know, it, I really care about doing what's right. You know what I'm saying? I do. Even though I messes up too, I do care to make a good impact and to just try to get along with my colleagues and turn the other cheek and however it may be, because everyone knows you're going to have disagreements at jobs. It just is what it is. Okay, so that's what I wanted to share about the why should I hire you type question. And I know that I did tell me about yourself, I did the weakness, I did the conflict, and I did the why should I hire you? But I didn't do the working as a team. Now, I will share you the secret with how to answer the working as a team question. I'm going to let you go to the book to learn an exact scripted answer. But the secret behind working as a team, or tell me about a time where you had to work in a group project, or tell me about a time one of your team members dropped the ball, or tell me about a time you successfully led a team project, or whatever, anything that has to do with working with people, team, collaboration, partnering, anything like that. You want to be mindful of not sounding arrogant. You want to be mindful of making sure your answer has to do with helping others. You want to be mindful of those things because that's really what they're looking for. They're not looking for somebody who just like, yeah, my team member dropped the ball and I just went ahead and did it for him because I felt like, we needed to get the job done. That's not the best answer. It's not the best answer. Is it the worst answer? No, but it's not the best answer because you could potentially ruffle feathers by stepping on people's toes like that. What a better answer would be, my team member dropped the ball, the first thing I want to do, or the first thing I did was I approached them and asked them, but we have a relationship, so I felt comfortable. Even entering that sentence, we have a relationship, so I felt comfortable, versus because somebody else might be thinking, well, is it appropriate to do that? Or should you just have told the boss? These things need to be said. This is why your answer, planning it ahead of time, is so crucial. Okay? So, the team member question. You want to plan it ahead of time. You want to make sure you don't sound arrogant. Make sure you're sounding like you are a team player. Make sure that you are sounding like you know how to communicate as well. So, make sure you discuss that. Like, the importance of communicating with your team, the importance of collaboration, the importance of it, and whatever, you have to put some of you in there. So again, I circle back around to practicing. Now, if you don't know how to practice like this, holla at me. I will 1000% get you together. Oh, I'm a job interview coach. I love to help people prepare for their job interviews. If you know anybody who this may help, please send this to them. Otherwise, drop me a comment below. Drop me whatever questions you have. If you have any more questions, let me know. And if you want me to go live and go over more information, let me know. I'm happy to help. And hopefully you guys will start your new year off right just by listening to some of these videos, getting your job search together, taking your time. I know we all need a job, need things, need money, but just take the weekend and gather yourself if you need to. It really shouldn't take that long to do the steps that I outlined, you know. Doing that background research, a couple hours. Getting your resume updated, a couple hours. If you want to pay somebody else to do it, even better, you know. And then studying for the typical job interview questions, I would just say take you a couple of days to practice it. Take you a couple of days. You got to remember, job interviews typically don't last too long. You know, the first 5 questions, the basic questions, that's half of the job interview, because I would say at most your job interview, especially depending on what level, if we're not talking about C-suite, if we're not talking about, you know, directors and things like that, even those, you're not going to be asked more than about, I would say, to be honest, no more than about 5 to 6 questions, 10 on the high end. You know, I've been interviewing, and the last couple of interviews that I've had, I think the longest one I had, the girl asked me, I don't know, maybe 6 questions. Maybe. One person only asked me 3. Another person, he tried to ask me more. I know he had to ask me like 6. So it's not a lot of questions, y'all. That's why to go over the top 12 job interview questions, this will help you. This will help you, okay? If you have any questions, drop me a comment below. Have a good day.